My name is Alex, 28 years old. I used to be the kind of person who'd drop everything for family, the guy who'd drive across 3 towns at midnight if mom called, or spend an entire weekend helping dad fix the roof. To me, family was everything. That's why I didn't hesitate when my younger brother, Matt, called for help. I paid his rent for 14 months, over $12,000. But this isn't a story about my kindness. It's about how loyalty got tossed in the trash, about the moment I was told I wasn't family enough to attend my own brother's wedding, and about the day I decided I'd never let anyone walk all over me again. It all started like most family dramas do, with good intentions. Matt, 25, was always the golden boy of our house. He had a smile that could melt the world, a way of talking that made you believe every mistake was just temporary. He just hasn't found his way yet, Mom would say, her eyes sparkling with pride. Me, I was the reliable one, the one with a steady job, a tidy apartment, and no trouble to my name. I didn't mind my role. Every family has its own rhythm, right? Then one evening, the phone rang. Matt's voice trembled through the line. Bro, I'm about to get kicked out. No hello, no how are you. He said he'd lost his job at the bar, again, and the landlord was threatening to change the locks. I've applied everywhere, he said, his voice full of hope. Just this month, I swear. I sighed, but agreed to help. I wired the full amount that night with a message, chin up, things'll be fine. But things weren't fine. 1 month stretched into 2, then 3. Every time I asked about jobs, Matt had an excuse. They didn't call back. The manager's an idiot. The hours suck. I kept sending money, 1,870 files a month, like clockwork. Sometimes he'd toss me a few bucks back with a half-hearted thanks, but mostly it was silence. I started noticing things. Matt's Instagram was full of photos, partying, weekend trips with his girlfriend, Sarah. When I asked, he'd laugh it off. Chill, bro. Sarah paid for that trip. Or, my buddy had free tickets. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But deep down, a knot started tightening. Then came the good news. One night, Matt called, buzzing with excitement. Bro, I proposed to Sarah. We're getting married this fall. I laughed, genuinely happy for him. That's awesome, Matt. I'm thrilled for you guys. He rambled on about the plans, a wedding at a vineyard in Somerset, classy and intimate. Sounds pricey, I teased. He hesitated. Yeah, Sarah's parents are helping a lot, and we're keeping it small. That word, small, made me pause. How small? I asked, half joking, half serious. He went quiet for a moment. Then in a flat voice, he said, probably just mom and dad. Sarah wants it low-key. I was stunned. I'm your brother, Matt. I don't count as close. He went quiet again, then said, Sarah wants to balance the guest list. Her side's huge, and you're not really tight with her. It felt like a punch to the gut. Tight? I've been paying your rent for over a year. He brushed it off. You know I appreciate that, but this is different. You don't really fit their vibe. Not fitting their vibe. That phrase echoed in my head for a week. I called my parents, hoping they'd have my back. But Mom just said, it's probably a misunderstanding, honey. Dad added, Matt said you're busy with work, probably wouldn't want to come anyway. I hung up, feeling like the whole world was gaslighting me. Then one day, a text from Matt. Yo, rent's due soon. Can you send it quick? Landlord's on my case. I stared at that message and something in me snapped. No, I replied. He texted back instantly. No? What do you mean no? You said you'd help till I'm back on my feet. I typed each word, hands shaking. That was before you said, I'm not your family. He didn't respond. But the next day, a long, rambling text came through, full of accusations, that I was abandoning him, that I was ruining his happiness. I read it and just felt tired. Then I remembered the car, the old Toyota I'd let him borrow when his junker broke down. It was still in my name. So I drove to Matt's place. He opened the door, eyes sunken. Here to talk like an adult? He sneered. No, I said. I'm here for my car. He laughed, thinking I was bluffing, but when he saw me grab the spare keys, he froze. You're serious? Yeah, I said. I'm serious. I drove off, glancing at him in the rearview mirror, standing on the sidewalk in socks, no jacket, looking like he'd just lost everything. But I knew this wasn't over. 3 days later, a voicemail from Matt stopped me cold. His voice was frantic. Alex, I'm screwed. Sarah kicked me out. She said I'm too much baggage. I'm at mom and dad's, but they're only letting me stay a week. Bro, please, can we talk? I listened to it over and over, torn between pity and rage. The old me, the big brother who always bailed him out, wanted to pick up the phone, but the other part, the part sick of being used, wanted to scream, "This is on you, Matt." I didn't call back. Instead, I found a letter slipped under my door. Matt's handwriting, scrawled on paper torn from a notebook. He wrote that he was just trying to survive, that he didn't mean to hurt me, but then it turned. He called me self-righteous, said I wanted him to grovel, that if I didn't want to be family, fine, I don't need you. I read it 3 times, and the last time I laughed, not out of joy, but because I realized Matt would never change. That weekend, I went to my parents' house. Mom opened the door, eyes nervous. "Matt's not here," she said quickly. "I know," I replied, "but I need to understand what's going on." From what Mom told me, Sarah had kicked Matt out after finding out he'd been lying. She thought he had a job, that he was saving money, but it was all me. She said she can't marry someone who's not honest, Mom said. I laughed, not because it was sad, but because the irony was razor sharp. Then came a rainy day. I was driving home, the sky pouring buckets, when I saw Matt. He was sitting on the curb by a bus stop, soaked to the bone, head bowed. A duffel bag sat beside him, like it was all he had left. I pulled over, watching him through the windshield. He didn't see me. He just sat there, letting the rain seep through his jacket, as if waiting for someone to save him. I used to be that someone. Not today. I drove to the courthouse, to the DMV office. The Toyota was still in my name, and I wanted to make sure it never went back to Matt. I filed for repossession, locking out any chance of him using it. Then I went home and pulled up every bank statement, 14 months of rent, gas money, groceries. I printed them out, attaching a short note for my parents and Sarah. This is what Not Family Enough did. I didn't expect them to do anything. I just wanted the truth out there. Sarah called me that night. "Alex, I had no idea he owed you that much," she said, voice trembling. "There's no wedding anymore. Matt ruined everything." I wasn't surprised. I just felt relieved. A few days later, Matt showed up at my door. Not wet, not angry, just exhausted. "Bro, I got nowhere else to go," he said. "I know I messed up. We're brothers, right? Brothers look out for each other." I looked at him, the kid I used to play video games with, who borrowed my hoodies in high school, who grinned like the world would always catch him. "You said I wasn't family," I said. "Now you need me, and suddenly I'm your brother again?" He didn't say anything, eyes welling up. "What now?" he asked. "Now you grow up," I said, and closed the door. No slam, no drama, just a quiet end. I don't know where Matt is now. Part of me hopes he finds his way, learns to stand on his own 2 feet. But I'm done carrying him, and for the first time in years, I feel free. People say cutting off family is cruel, but I've learned something. Family isn't an excuse for someone to break you over and over and call it love. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is walk away and never look back.